The words that you say have so much more meaning than you know. Words are spells that can change your reality. Words can be viewed forwards, backwards, phonetically, etymologically, as well as numerically. So let's start with the word spelling. Spelling is basically the formation of words through the combination of letters or symbols. And it's called spelling, not forming or lettering, because when you create the formation of those letters to create the word, those words become spells. And then there's the word grammar. Grammar shares the same root in French as the word called grimoire. And grimoire means a book of spells that you can use to basically cast demons as well as spells on other people and yourself. And then there's cursive. Cursive is basically the combination of letters and words. And as we all know, the combination of letters is spelling or spells. And if you combine a lot of spells or words, you create curses. So basically cursive is curses. And then there's write. Write as in to write, as well as you can phonetically see that write a passage. Then there's vowels. Vowels sound almost or close to as vowels. And vowels can be seen as an oath. Then there's live. Live backwards spells the same as evil, or dog backwards spells the same as God, or dessert backwards spells the same as stressed. Maybe us being stressed is like dessert for the higher ups. And then there's kid. Kid is another word for goat, and goats were used as sacrifice during olden times, right? But you can see that kids are also used for sacrifice nowadays as well. There are some phonetic examples like good morning and morning. Good morning is something that you say to someone when it's early in the morning, right? And then there's mourning, which is a state of expressing sorrow for the dead during a funeral service or a wake. And then there's awake and awake. One is something that we do instead of sleeping, while the other is a funeral party or a service for the dead. In a way, we can say that our lives are the celebration of the death we are going through. But that's the start of it. Let me cook. Jobs are basically us going to work on the weekdays to earn a living, right? Working in a weekdays to earn a living. Weekdays and weekdays. We feel so much stronger towards the weekend because we're not in a weekdays anymore. The weekend is happening. The weakening ends. And then earn sounds the same as earn, something that people use to put crematory ashes of the dead. And then job in Hebrew means persecuted. So in other words, jobs are basically saying we're persecuted to work in a weekdays until we're eventually put in an earn. Maybe I'm pushing it with that one as well, but y'all got the message. Mortgage in French means death pledge. And the average person is able to pay off their mortgage in 30 years. And the average person spends a life sentence in jail for 30 years. Coincidence? I think not. Then there's Hollywood. As most of y'all know, Hollywood is basically a scam. It's this lower level magic that's basically affecting everybody's perception of reality. But Hollywood comes from the term called holly tree. And holly tree are basically used by druids, who are known to be priests, witches, or wizards in the olden times. And they would use the branches of these holly trees to make wands, so they're able to cast spells on other people as well as themselves. When you try to buy a house or a car or sign up for something, you have to sign a contract, right? Read the terms and conditions, right? But whenever you try to read the terms and conditions, it just leaves you more confused because of the word manipulation that they use. And that's the point. They want you to be confused. All of it is just a manipulation of linguistics. And that's the con. They got you with that. Then there's television, or tell-lie vision, telling lies to your vision. And then with the television, people tune in to their favorite channel to see what it's about, right? And channel is basically related to frequency. You tune into your frequency. And what did people make to help us tune into a channel easily? A remote control, or to remotely control us. Because whatever channel we tune into controls our frequency and it affects us. Or in other words, they basically decide on how we feel. People always watch political debates to fall for the bait. Then there's government, or govern and ment. Ment is from the Latin word called mente, and mente means mind. So it means govern mind, or mind control. And then there's alcohol, or in Arabic, al-ghul, which means flesh-eating spirit, or in other words, spirits or boozes. There's multiple names, but it's all the same thing. You're inviting spirits into your body so they can take control of you and basically consume you. So what does this all mean? It basically means that words are power. Words can affect your vibration. Words can change your reality. Words can make or break you. Think about it. When you talk positively to yourself or other people, you feel happy. They feel happy. Y'all vibrate at such a higher frequency. But if you talk negatively to yourself or other people, the opposite happens. You vibrate at such a lower frequency, and that can lead you down to a slippery slope. While being at a higher frequency can lead you up to a staircase. So the words that you say to yourself and others really matters. And sometimes the best thing that you can do is to just shut up. Here's some Bible quotes that tells you exactly this message. In Proverbs 21 verse 23 says, whoever guards his mouth and tongue keeps his soul out of troubles. And then Proverbs 13 verse 13 says, he who guards his mouth preserves his life, but he who opens wide his lips will have destruction. Proverbs chapter 10 verse 19, which says, in the multitudes of words sin is not lacking, but he who restrains his lips is wise. So basically, King Solomon is saying that it's better to shut up than just to keep yapping, because eventually you'll say something that you'll regret for yourself and others. If it's one thing that you can take away from this video, is that words have power. So be careful. Be careful with the words that you say to yourself and others, because your subconscious doesn't know who you're talking to when you talk trash about other people. It's going to think that you're talking about yourself, and that's going to reflect on you more than it will reflect on other people. For instance, when you say, I'm sick of them or I'm tired of them, your subconscious doesn't know who you're talking to and thinks that it's talking about yourself. So it's going to reflect those terms onto you. So you're going to start feeling more sick and tired. But if you were to start uplifting people or yourself, then you're going to receive the same benefits. When you say, oh, you're healthy, or I'm healthy, you're wealthy, or you're rich, you're handsome, or I'm rich, I'm healthy, I'm handsome, you're going to start feeling just like that, because your subconscious is going to reflect what you talk about yourself and others. It takes real eyes to realize the real lies of how words affect us, and words are basically swords.